Welcome to Buddha's in Your Landfill, or Buddhism Made Plain and Simple. So we're continuing our inquiry, our adventure into finding Buddhas in your backyard and making it simple. And we've been talking about yesterday I forgot what I was talking about yesterday. But we're going to continue anyway because we're trying to understand how consciousness works. Yesterday we talked about the sting of self-consciousness, or what Buddha called dukkha, or suffering. So today we're going to look at this from the point of view of golf, the Zen of Golf. And everyone understands golf, whether you play it or not, because you see some guy there, or women like to play it too, but it used to be a man's sport. And he's got that golf club, and he's going to get that little ball into that little hole. What's that about? What's the mythology here? What's the ritual here? What is the spiritual meaning? What is the Zen of golf? So let's take a look at it in the terms of consciousness, in the framework of understanding self-reflecting consciousness. So we start off with the elements of golf, and you've got the whole ball in the hole. Okay, so you got the ball, you got the player, and he's standing there looking at the green and the hole, which also looks like a ball. In other words, you've got this point. You've got a point here. Now in this hole, in the center here, you have a circle, the green, and that ball. Well, although the golf green is not a complete circle, let's imagine it is. The point here is the center of the circle. And you can't tell if that, looking at that, if that is a hole with a ball of light in the end of a tunnel, or if it's the tip of a mountain looking at you. You see, it can go in or out. But anyway, the point here, the center, is the source of the circle. You can't draw a circle unless you take a compass and stick it in a point that's steady, and then you extend your leg here and you can draw a circle around it. So that becomes a sacred space. In mythology, in ritual, in religion, in temples, everything, you create a sacred space. So this is a sacred space. I remember Globe Trekker. I used to love that show, and in the logo it started off with somebody drawing a circle in the sand, but it was a light circle. It was a circle of light. So if you want to protect yourself, you draw a circle around it. You get inside. This is a ancient myth, ancient practice, ancient ritual. We do it all the time, not realizing what we do. But here it is again. This is a sacred space, and this is the center of the world. This is the center of the sacred space, the center of the temple, the center, the point out of which the world comes. So this is the Amiga point, the still point, God, if you will. And out here we have the ego, me, and I'm standing there, and I have a point here. I have a ball. So this ball is a substitute, is a metaphor, is a portable center. So the goal now is to get me into that hole and restore the center. You see, there's been a separation. You see, if it's one point, if this is one, and then it's been separated and made into two, I have the one here. The one was, there's only one point. There's only one point. There's only one God. There's only one creation. There's only one reality. It's not two, or else, unless you're schizophrenic, or you have a walleye and you see two. But there's only one. But then it gets divided. There's only one consciousness, but then it gets divided. So it's the one that is two. And here's the two but originally it's one. But through consciousness it becomes two, yet it wants to be one. It's like a magnet that's been divided, or two twins that have been separated and they want to get back together. Or a magnet, if you divide a magnet and it's got a one, it gets back together, you see. If you divide the one into two, you have a civil war. Or you have desire. You have love, a beloved, a love, a romance, a romanticism. The romantic love affair is the two that becomes one in the love, you see. We all understand this, but we rarely see it. So the me is on the outside. Here, you say, I have my little guy here. So there's two me's here. There's the me here. And there's the me here. Me as center, me as aware of myself. So self-reflecting consciousness is a curse and a blessing. It's a blessing because it knows and it can create, and it's a curse because it suffers the pain of separation in itself. So whenever you judge yourself, whenever you're negative about yourself, whenever you are aware that you don't measure up, that something's wrong with you, that you're not worthy, that you're somehow deficient, that's the pain of separation. The two has become one. But when you're okay, when you're in the moment, when you're in the dance, when you're in the love, when you're in the action and you're not looking at your watch and wondering how long is this guy going to talk, when you're in the movie, when you're in the zone as a sports player, the basketball, they're in the zone, they can't make a mistake. Or you got the soccer ball and you're running with the ball and nobody can stop you. You're in your center. You're in your center, you see. But as soon as you reflect, oh my God, I'm going to screw up, boom, you're on the outside looking in. You divided the pain of separation. So this game of golf, you see, is kind of like a ritual of restoring center. It's a ritual of enlightenment, of healing, of coming home. It's a religion. It's a ritual. It's a spiritual game of healing. So we come back to it again and again. So let's take a look deeper. So the ball and the hole are the two me's that have been separated. The prodigal son, the lovers separated, the twins divided, the mother and child divided. You see, the mother and child are one. You divide them, you got a crisis on the border. The Madonna and child are one. You divide it, you have suffering. Now the green, the circle, is representative of the goddess, the mother. The female, the goddess, is always a circle. The male is always a dot. A little sperm, a big egg. Goes right to the source of life. So the green, the circle, is the one, and the dots represent the two, you see. So the dot, which is represented by the male, and the circle is represented by the female, the womb, and the single point, you see. So the circle is the whole that includes everything, and the point or dot is the thing. Okay? So these two cannot be separated, but we do. In other words, there is the whole of everything, and then there is the thing in everything. So just like this room. This room is a whole. And all the things in this room are the many. But the room is one. You see, the room is the circle. And all the circle is made up of all these little things, you see. When I look at this, when you look at this, I say, look at this. Right then, that's a thing. You don't see the whole room, all you see is this. But the background of the room tells you what this is. If I took this to some aborigines in some jungle, and held this up, they wouldn't know what it was because there would be no context. But if I put it up here and say, oh, look, boom, 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 oh, I know what that is now. But if you take away the room, you don't know what it is. If you take away the background, you don't, like, when you go in your attic, in your grandmother's attic, and you start looking around, and you come up with all these different things. What the hell is that? We don't know. So, getting back to the game. The game is to get the me into my whole, into the whole. You see, whole and whole are the same. So the goal is to get the ball, which is a symbolic separated self, into that point of creation and become one with God, or the whole. God is everything. I want to be one with God. I want to be one with the world. I want to be at home in the world. I want to be at one-ment. I want to be at one with the world. That's the spiritual goal. And religion too. I want to be with God. The spiritual path, though, is not to be one with God as two things, but to be one with God as one thing, which is the meaning of golf. When you sink the ball into the hole, there's not two holes there. It's one. So this ball has to die into that one. You see? There's a death here. There's a death and resurrection. Through the death of me into that hole, I'm resurrected as the one. You see? And so the game is that each hole, you got 18 holes, each hole is a separate lifetime. And this translates into history. I want a new car. If I could just have a new car, I would be satisfied. If I just had a new relationship, a new job, I would be satisfied. If I could just get that ball in the hole, I would be satisfied. If I could just get that ball in the hole, I would have meaning. I would be at home. I would be at rest. I could stop this suffering, this seeking, this desire, this tension. You see, there's a tension. When you separate the two, when you separate the one into two, there is a tension. It's a pain. If you desire anything, you think it's, oh, I want that donut. But if you really look at the desire, it's painful. So I want to get the donut to be released from the suffering of the desire for the donut. When I'm separated from the donut, I see the donut, I want it, there is a tension, and then there's time. How much time does it take to get that donut? What do I have to do to get that donut? How much is that donut? Do I have enough money? Do I have to catch a bus to go get that donut? Or is the donut shop is right around the door. I can have that donut anytime. It doesn't take any time at all for me to get that donut. Oh, it used to be, I took a long time to get the donut. Now I just go, boom. Or I can call it up and have the donut delivered. So it only takes about 10 minutes to get the donut. Oh, I got a faster service. It only takes 5 minutes of suffering before I get that donut, you see. So our whole economy is built on reducing the suffering of the tension between the desire of the two me's. I want to be in that hole there and release the tension of the divided me. I desire the donut. The donut is me and I'm separated from it. I'm here and the donut's there. And I got to get into that donut to relieve the tension of the separation of me. You see how this works? Everywhere, everywhere. So each hole is kind of like a separate lifetime. If you believe in reincarnation, one hole is a whole lifetime. It takes me a whole lifetime to get that ball in there, and I don't do it. The whole Eastern tradition of reincarnation is the idea that if you ever get into that hole, you would not have to play the game anymore. That would be enlightenment. That would be the end. You finished it. Maybe it took you 1,000 lifetimes to get that self into that hole and be at rest and end the suffering of birth and death. You see, that's kind of like the Eastern view. But Buddhism, as it's coming to the West, the Buddha Dharma, is psychological instead of physical. So we're not interested in physical reincarnation, but in the reincarnation of states of mind, the reincarnation of desires, which is the ritual of golf. So each hole is a desire to get the ball, which is me, into the mother, into that center, into the God, and disappear. To be larger, to be the whole world. Not a thing in the world, not a thing outside looking in, but to be the world itself, to be at home with your life, to be at ease in your life, to be at one with your life, which is the green, you see. So thanks for dropping in. I hope this changes your appreciation and understanding of golf. It did me. I just had this thought this morning on Facebook, and boom, here I am talking about it, fleshing it out, discovering it as I talk to you. So please share this on Facebook and subscribe on YouTube. Go to my account on YouTube, Ed Conley, and put that up here. Ed Conley. You might get a hole in one. Who knows? Thanks for dropping in.